Alright everyone, welcome to the channel. So I was looking at this Bitcoin chart today and I noticed something very interesting, and in today's video I want to talk about something that I call the Bitcoin mega trend lines. Let's jump right into the video. So first of all, you might be looking at this chart and thinking this is a great long-term chart where you can look at all the data traded on Bitcoin, and I would agree with you. This is a trading view chart. It goes all the way back to July 2010. I believe this is the longest Bitcoin price chart on TradingView. If you do want to know how you can get a copy of this Bitcoin chart, simply click on my channel, click on playlist, click on reviews, and you will see this Bitcoin chart and I'll show you how to get it on TradingView. So let's jump right into the analysis. First of all, what do you notice within this Bitcoin chart on the logarithmic growth curves? Well, you can see there's a few trend lines and we'll jump into that, but what I really want to highlight is very simply you get these runs up, all-time highs, consolidation, run up, all-time high, consolidation, run up, all-time high, consolidation, run up, all-time high, consolidation. What is the second thing that is very important in this? Well, once you have one of these trend lines, once we put in all of our touch points on it, you can see touch point here, touch point here, touch point here, touch point here. Once we break above and we form a new trend line connecting to the all-time high at that moment in time, we never return to the previous one. For example, you can see once we broke above this trend line here, we never visited this trend line ever again. And it's the same on the next one down. What happened once you had this trend line and you broke up and you went to above this trend line? Well, we never returned to that trend line again. We came back and we retested this trend line, but this trend line was a thing of the past. Just like this trend line is now a thing of the past, and a lot of people are drawing to this one right here. I've noticed people are connecting the bottoms of this. I have seen the top of this drawn before. I haven't seen people draw the previous ones before, so this was something very interesting that I've noticed on the chart. Now, what do I want to talk about for this chart? I want to talk about the similarities between the last market cycle, and by the last market cycle I actually mean coming into the last market cycle. Let's look at what happened when we topped out in 2017. Well, you can see we broke down, we came down to the trend line that was just below us, we came up for a bounce, and we double back tested this trend line. Now, what is so important about this second back test? Because this first back test, obviously this was a dreadful day, but you know, it wasn't like we had any fear, uncertainty and doubt. It wasn't like we had any worldwide economic news that was shaking the earth, was it? But what happened here coming into March 2020? I think a lot of you know, I can't say the specific word because my channel will probably disappear, but the pandemic. Everyone knows about this pandemic. It wiped out the markets. It was an unprecedented amount of fear, uncertainty and doubt echoing through the economy. Everyone was saying, you know, this is a black swan event. This is fear, uncertainty and doubt on a unprecedented level. So what is different with this market cycle? Because we ran up, we made new all-time high, we ran up, we made new all-time high, we came down, we back tested the trend line, we came down, we back tested the trend line, we came up for a dead cat bounce. This is the only difference between them. This was a lower low, or a lower high rather, you can see lower high there, whereas this was, you can call it a higher high because it was. In the macro term, I'd really call this a double top because we didn't exactly make much of a higher high. But what happens here? So we break down and the pandemic is announced. We get, you know, global economic crisis. Everything is in meltdown. This was, and I don't want to take away from what's happening here. Obviously, you know, we're seeing things worldwide which are very sad, and I don't want to take away from any of that whatsoever. What we're seeing right now is very terrible. However, what we had here was unprecedented amounts of fear, uncertainty and doubt in the market. What are we seeing right now? we're seeing almost the exact same thing. Sure, you can add, you know, war to this equation. Apart from that, and also the increased interest rates, apart from the war and the increased interest rates, there's not really anything else. I mean, global pandemic, global uncertainty. I mean, what is the difference in the grand scheme of things? I think the only thing that is wholeheartedly different in this example here is the war that we're seeing, and also the effects that it's having on the economy. And, you know, I'm not stupid. I can't go into all of these political things because I notice channels that do go into these political things tend to disappear off the face of this earth and never return. So I'm not going to bring politics into this. I really don't want my channel to disappear over just talking about politics, but nonetheless, what we're seeing now is pretty much the same as what we saw in this market. In fact, we had more selling volume coming into this. This was extremely bearish, and we're seeing the same thing now. Obviously, this is only a Monday, so it could get a lot worse from here. I did just want to highlight, this is a mega trend line that has been in place since 2017, and technically, I mean, if we zoom right into this, you can see we're testing it right now, we're filling it. Does it matter necessarily if we have a quick wick below it? It really doesn't, in my opinion. I would be looking for a weekly close above 30,000. I do think that we are going to close above 30,000, but I do think we are going to come down to 29,000 first. Why do I think we're going to come down to 29,000? Well, there's a couple of reasons. If I show you this chart first, the Bitcoin logarithmic growth curves, first of all, we've always bottomed here. Every single time we bottom, one deviation oversold, bottom, one deviation oversold, bottom, one deviation oversold, bottom, one deviation oversold, but we technically just broke below the one deviation oversold. Here it says low dev, that just means one deviation oversold. What do we see right now? The price is not updated since yesterday, but one deviation oversold is 32,500. What is the price right now? 30,500. We have broken below the logarithmic growth curves. The only other time this has happened, we did have a quick capitulation which lasted a month and a half. So I don't think this is going to be over in the next day or so. I think this is something that could take its time. I do think we're going to take its time at this moment in time. Coming over to the last chart, there is also another fractal that I wanted to point out that is very similar to what's going on in today's time, except the first fractal we had, we actually bottomed at the utmost support line. Coming up to the top here, we are coming down. We've broken below this trend line, so I would imagine that unfortunately 29,000 is on the table. That would mean another 5.6% drop for Bitcoin. So I thought it'd be very interesting to bring in a slightly different perspective, talk about these, what I call the mega growth, the mega support lines. Yeah, mega support curves, whatever you want to call them, mega trend lines. Let's call them mega trend lines. So yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about these mega trend lines, give a different perspective on the market, because my channel is all about perspectives. I love to provide multiple perspectives, from perspectives that I don't necessarily agree with, so I can microdose them, talk about what I think is going to happen, talk about why I don't like them, and I also like to talk about theories that I do like, and I talk about what I do like about them, try to plot holes in them. This is what my channel is about. I'm not trying to be the typical YouTuber who goes through analyzing the charts the same way day in, day out. I want to encourage critical thinking. I want to look at charts in fresh perspectives. If I find myself looking at the same chart for more than a week, I'll do this. I'll click remove drawings and I'll start off on a new chart. If this is your first time watching my videos, this was my first Bitcoin chart on this channel. This was my first Bitcoin chart, and we were running off this previously. We were talking about this uptrend. Then we had a new chart where we started talking about Elliott waves, but we did reset it. And we were talking about the broadening megaphone in this chart, but we've deleted it because it has been invalidated. And we had another chart which we recently reset, because on this chart we were talking about these 6 weekly candles in a row that we just put in to the downside for Bitcoin. So I always love providing a fresh perspective on the market. My videos aren't like this is the Bitcoin chart, this is what needs to happen, this has to happen. I always like to give you different perspectives. I like you to watch my videos, critically think, agree with me, disagree with me, plot holes in it, give me new perspectives. I like to look for new perspectives on the market. I feel like when you're looking at the same chart for too long, it can diminish your ability to see what's going on in the macro picture. So this is something I really like. This is something I really enjoy doing. If you do like these macro videos, if you do like these videos where I give an alternate perspective, the best way to let me know is leave a like and a comment down below. That's really all I ask for. Hope you found value in this content. As always, none of this is financial advice. Best of luck. These markets are very, very shaky. I've lived through this before. I've honestly never felt more comfortable in my Bitcoin position than I have today. You know, the closer we get to the bottom, the more I feel like is the only way is up. But I'm not a fool. It does look like we have to come down a tiny bit more. I mean, 29,000 really looks like it's going to be on the table. That's all I've got. Best of luck if you are watching this. Not financial advice. Cowboy out. And most importantly, peace.